worship you. You are greater, you are stronger, you are greater, you are stronger. None can be compared unto you. None can be compared unto you. You are the greatest. You are the strongest. You are the greatest. Oh Lord. You are the greatest. You are the strongest. None can be compared unto you. There's no one else but you. Yes, Lord, we glorify your holy name. For you are the mighty one, you are the strong one, you are the great one that can be compared unto you, oh Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Father. You are greater than the greatest. You are stronger than the strongest. You are the greatest. You are the strongest. Oh, you are greater than the greatest. You are stronger than the strongest. You are greater. You are greater. Oh, you are greater than the greatest. You are stronger than the strongest. You are greater. You are greater. Oh, Ikei Baba said, Ikei Mama. Hallelujah. 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 Eka Baba said, Ikei Mama Siri, Ikei Mama.
Good evening, lovely people. Thank God it's Friday. And welcome to your favorite show, The Inside View, a show that informs, educates, and also transforms the lives of many. Today, we're doing something different. A little bit of politics today. But it's more of an educational thing. And we are going to be talking about political branding. Using Ghana as a case study, tonight, and we're going to be talking about political branding, identity, development, political brand values, political, brand personality, and also political brand resonance. And to help me do that, we are so privileged, to have Dr. Samuel Kusi, who is the Assistant Professor of Marketing from University of Bradford. Doc, welcome to the Inside View.
Thank you very much, Nana. How are you?
I'm good. And how was your day?
Well, it's been good and great. Can't complain at all.
Can't complain at all. Okay, we thank God.
Yeah.
Today the weather is very, very, very cold. Gradually the weather is, changing, and today, I think it just took all of us by surprise. The temperature has suddenly dropped.
Yeah.
It was really, really cold. Yeah. I would just urge, each and everyone, out there to share this conversation for us, because we want people to be educated on political branding, a topic that is really under, I'll say researched, and it's not something that we take actually seriously, especially in Ghana and, for that matter, other parts of Africa. So let's get a bit, a bit giddy, like tonight, by doing something, out of our comfort zone, and it will go a long way to help. So We are, Doc, tonight, we're talking about, branding. And we all know that branding is inescapable. And to anyone watching us, I'll say that, the purpose of a brand is to act as a consumer behavior, heuristic, shortcut for consumer choice, allowing, I'll say, consumers to quickly and easily differentiate between similar products in any marketplace. That's, to any, layman's language. But then when we talk about, political brands, it's being defined by academics as the political representations that are located in a pattern, which can be identified and differentiated from other political representations. So in politics, just like any other, sphere, branding is essentially about recognition and expectation, which allow people to make shortcuts in their decision-making process. So I think that's my little understanding about political branding. But I know having a whole professor with us, and he'll go in a bit further to give us more in-depth explanation about what political branding is all about, political branding values, political branding personality, and also political branding resonance. It's all about. So, Doc, and I just want to. I have explained in my own words what political branding is, but you being an expert in marketing, how would you? Okay, before we go into that, to anyone that is actually tuning and does not know who Dr. Samuel Kusi is, Doctor, we just want you to tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into tonight's discussion. So, if anyone wants to know who Dr. Kusi is, could you please tell us, something small about yourself? Yeah. A bit about your background. Yeah.
I'm assistant professor of marketing at University of Bradford. Before then, I was a lecturer at University of Greenwich, and I specialize in branding, entrepreneurship, and small medium enterprises, looking at special type of small medium enterprises. They are called international new ventures. These are firms, although they are young, they are new, but they have a mentality of going to international market in a rapid way. For instance, some of the firms have presence in over 35 or 40 countries within a space of 6 months. But in the olden days, they used to go to international market after 10 or 20 years in one particular market, then they move to the nearby market. But these new types of firms are radical way of internationalizing, although they are young, new, and small. So these are type of firms that are specialized in the general or the traditional small medium enterprises.
Great. So we still want to know about the little, Samuel Kusi. How was your formative years like?
Come again, please.
We just want to know a little bit about your formative years. The kind of environment that you grew up in that has shaped, the kind of gentleman that you are today.
Well, I did my higher national diploma in marketing at Sunyani Polytechnic, now Sunyani Technical University. And I did my first degree at London Metropolitan University in London, UK, specializing in marketing. And I did my MBA at Roehampton University, also in London, UK. Then I moved to Finland, University of Vasa in Vasa, and I did my Doctor of Science in Economics and Business Administration, specializing in branding and entrepreneurship. Then I moved back to the UK to start at Greenwich University. Then I moved to Bradford as assistant professor in marketing last year.
Wonderful. I could tell that you are so much into branding. Why that particular area of specialty? Why is branding so important to you?
Well, everybody is branding. When we go to the Bible, when we look at Jesus Christ, it's a big brand name. If you mention that name, Everyone knows what you're talking about. You don't need to open the Bible. Everyone knows who Jesus Christ represents. And when we come to our daily lives, when we talk about Coca-Cola, on a blind date or blind test, you see that a lot of people will choose other type of cola drinks. But when you take the blindfold and you ask them, what do you want? They will tell you Coca-Cola because they have made a name. If you look at product like iPhone, about 86% of the component of iPhone is made by Samsung. But everyone using iPhone will tell you that it is Apple or iPhone. But the component, majority of the component of iPhone is made by Samsung. But why would we pay more for Apple than Samsung is the name. And the name given to that product distinguishes itself from others. So although Samsung is supplying Apple most of the component to make iPhone, that name is more powerful than Samsung. So if you look at the intra-brand, you look at the top brands and their brand equity, how people look at them, you see that Apple is always up there. Why? Because they have cultivated a particular name that distinguishes itself from others. So as Coca-Cola, Fanta, Pepsi, and if you look at McDonald's, every child wants to go to McDonald's. Why? Because when they see that yellow M, it calls for something, it represents something. They don't need to put the fries before them. So when we talk about branding, these are the things that got me interested to understand why some products will sell more than others. Why will some companies will do better than others? Then you have to understand what are the key principles, what are the key characteristics that will make it. Now I can tell you that if you go to Ghana now, there are a lot of cola drinks that are doing well. But the name Coca-Cola, when we mention it, you feel that it freezes your body, your soul, and your spirit. Why? Because it's a powerful name. But other brands like Angel Cola and the rest, they are doing well. But because of the name, that means the brand which represents a name of a person, an individual, it could be a city, it could be anything, it distinguishes one person or one entity or one product from the other. That means we need to pay attention to everything. Your name, when anyone Googles your name, it comes up straight away, then the one show follows. That means you have carved a niche for yourself, and what you are doing is different from what others. So these are the reasons why. And before you have to understand all these things, you have to be in the field to understand. I have done a lot of things in terms of being in the media and also music promotion, and there are certain names that resonate. So it got me interested to understand branding more. Nana, you need to unmute yourself, please.
I'm so sorry
Yes.
about that. My sincere, apologies for that. Tonight we're using Ghana as a test case. Do you think Ghana as a nation, politically, we really understand what branding is all about? Before you
Most of the time,
educate us on what political branding is.
I don't, because the newspapers, even articles, and I follow some of the articles written in the newspapers, you hardly see political branding. And it's unfortunate because you can have a product, no matter how good the product is, no matter how sweet the product is, no matter how strong the character leading the political party or movement is, without good branding, it will be difficult to survive. And when we talk about branding, as I've told you, there are a lot of things that comes within branding. These are practices or these are strategies and tactics that are used to manage a brand. So branding, a brand is a name of a person, an individual that distinguishes one seller from the other. But when we talk about branding, these are practices, these are things that one must do. And unfortunately, the political parties in Ghana, they have beautiful colors, they have beautiful personalities, but I don't see the branding. You don't see them in the newspaper, you don't see them. And for without branding, it's going to be difficult to penetrate the market. And without the right strategy, it's not just about I want to be a president. No. What are the characteristics, inherent traits? What are your values? How would you even form a brand relationship? How would you form a relationship between the brand, that is the political party, and the people? Why would I choose party A over you? Why shouldn't I go with party B? So this is what is needed. Some have good ideas, they can lead the country, but they don't have that formidable force that will come under branding. And without these practices and strategies, it's going to be difficult to penetrate the market. That is why branding is very crucial to all political parties in Ghana.
Okay. So, in your own words, how would you define or describe political branding before we come into how political parties can effectively brand themselves for influence?
Well, we have NDC, National Democratic Congress, we have New Patriotic Party, we have the New Force, that is a new movement trying to become like a political party, but they want to delineate themselves from a political party, so they've put a movement. Then we have the change, that is Alan Chiramatin's party. We have that movement. So you see, they are bringing things that are new, that will distinguish themselves from that of the old version of how we see or how we do politics. So you see, if we have that type of practices, then it means that a name given to a political party, their practices, their characteristics, what makes them different from the other is what is coming to be. What name that will go for that movement or that party, what colors, what logo, what symbols, what will be the symbolism, the trademark that will distinguish them from the others will be that political branding. And we need to distinguish between the political brand and political branding. Political brand will be a name associated with a political party that distinguishes itself from the others. And political branding will be the branding practices that comes under strategy and tactics that will be employed by a political party so that that party will be able to survive, grow, and form strong relationship through interaction between that party, its members, and relevant stakeholders.
Okay, so if I'm getting you right, with NDC and NPP and New Force, with NDC, they have their red, green, and black logo, and also we have the NPP also with the blue, white, and red. I'm not too sure about the New Force. What they have, but they've all got their own logos, and also they have their slogans. NDC has, they have a zoo, a za, and then MPP they've also got Kukuru, a Shirado Rado, and the New Force, as well. I think it's. If you can actually help me with the slogan also for the New Force, I think I'll be so happy. So, with all these brand and branding that you've actually explained to us, do you think these, slogans and the logos, do you think they are enough? And if they are not enough, how can they build a brand for their political campaigns. I mean, in such a manner that will carry the kind of should I say respect? Because at the moment, like we talk about MPP, people are not too sure. You talk about NDC, people are also not too sure. You talk about the new force. I mean the youth sort of identify with the new force. What kind of other mechanisms can they employ to create effective political brand and also influence, aside these logos and the slogans that I've mentioned?
Right. Every political party is built on a particular ideology.
Okay.
So it becomes their values.
Okay.
That is the core, or that will be their guiding angel. And they cannot run faster than that guiding angel, because that angel is guiding them. So if you look at MPP, NDC, center right, they have the right, they have the left, they have center. Okay, if the ideology is built as a conservative party, like the New Patriotic Party, they are preserving what used to be, then you see that it is more appealing to the affluent, okay, because they are not willing to give room for anybody at all, although they are managing the country. And if you look at the NDC, it is based on the foundations of all the principles of Kwame Nkrumah. So they are bringing like freedom. Everybody should come and enjoy the cake. That doesn't mean that MPP is not giving anything for free for the people. Like if you look at their flagship program, like the free SHS, that is supposed to be, all things being equal, the liberals that will do that. Okay, everybody should enjoy, but they brought it. That is a value that is underpinning the party development and freedom. So that development and freedom must come from somewhere. And they believe that when they bring the free SHS, development will start there and people will be liberated. That becomes the backbone of the party. And the backbone of the party, these values, the values can be in the form of a slogan. And that slogan, you realize that each and every election season, new slogan is developed, but they have the core slogan that does not change. It stays the same. And these values, there's one brand expert who calls it brand mantra, which is a 3 to 5 catchphrase that summarizes what the political party should represent. So if you look at NPP, if you look at NDC, these are the dominant forces. I call them I call them axis of impediment. The reason why I call them axis of impediment is that it's not easy to overthrow these two political parties in Ghana. It could be, but it's not easy. So they have built strong foundations and strong network through their mantra. If you look at the NDC currently, they've come out with a new mantra. Okay, they said the alternative. Okay, the best alternative. If what they're trying to mean is that MPP is not the best, so the alternative available is the NDC. Then they've gone back to launch a flagship program, 24-hour economy. That 24-hour economy, if you look at Baumia, based on the values of MPP, they believe in freedom and development. They are also talking about bold decisions. What are the bold decisions? When it comes to COVID, how are they going to manage the economy? When it comes to digitalization, how are we going to drive the economy? So they want to say that we are not talking about alternatives here per se, but we're talking about who can make bold decisions. Because during COVID time, they made some decisions, they classified them to be bold. These are all enshrined within their values. However, values alone will not be enough to develop a strong brand identity. The brand identity is how people perceive the party. So, Nana, as you sit down, you can call yourself Otumfo Setutu. But will people see you to be? That is the problem. So the identity is how we believe people should see us. So we have our values, and some people who share the same sentiment with us will follow. Now, apart from the values that are the mantra, so you see MPP, Eshi, Radu, Radu, then NDC will come, Eyezu, Eyeza. All these are catchphrases that they want to stick in the minds of the people. The more it stick in the minds of the people, they want people to recall. When we say Eyezu, Eyeza, we don't need to say NDC. You know what we're talking about. And the recall, we call it, that is the brand recall. They want it to stick in the minds of the customer. Because Nana, remember, the customer left alone will buy no ordinary of the brand unless he or she is forced, indirectly or in a subtle way. So these catchphrases resonate. Some of the catchphrases, Nana, from childhood to this time, you still remember some of the catchphrases, some of the advert that you watch on TV. So these political parties have created these catchphrases, and it is living in the memories of us. When we hear na 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 oye winna na na dear, he's born to succeed. Whenever you hear that song, just the beat of that song, you know what it means. It means it's MPP time. Nobody needs to say that it is MPP. So these are well calculated catchphrases that stick in the minds of the customer. And the reason why this is important is that it has to be written in your DNA. And the heart of the tablet of your heart, it should be written on. Then once it is written on the heart of your tablet, it sticks in your mind. Once it sticks in your mind, you are able to recall the brand. The reason is that we have brand parity, point of parity, and point of differentiation. Point of parity is when we put all political parties in a basket, we call them political parties. But point of differentiation is when I decide to be with NDC, or when I decide to be with NPP, or we have infidelity in branding. Some of them can divorce a brand and go and be with another brand. When that divorce comes in, then it means that we are not having that recall in our minds. I'm going to erase a Radu Radu. Then I'm going to put in my mind a ye. Put akatamanso, a yezu, a yeza. The reason why we want to shift from that point to one point to another point is what the political parties are trying to achieve now. Once we are able to erase the mantra from our memories, is good, because once NDC establishes the memory, their mantra in our memories is going to stay forever. Now, another point that will resonate with customers, when I say customers, I mean voters for the political parties, is the personality. Who is the flag bearer, or who are the faces of these parties? When you look at NDC and NPP, you see that they have dominant forces, faces that have been in existence for long. And if you look at their communication directors, none of them come cheap. If you look at NDC, Sami Jamfi, if you look at Miracle Abuaji from MPP, these are young, talented guys, and they are very difficult to deal with. If you look at some Honorable Okudeta Blakwa, you see when they are talking in public, they talk in one direction. NPP will talk in one direction, NDC will talk in one direction. If you look at the new force, if you look at the movement of change, you see that all of them are talking in one direction. Why? Because they cannot lose their core mantra. So every discussion, communication revolves around the brand mantra. So NDC is not going away from the 24-hour economy. No way. Dr. Baumia is not also going away with the digitalization. Why? Because he says he's taking a bold decision for the country as a solution to bring us back or to continue on where the economy has rebounded to. That means the personality that is leading this conversation must resonate with relevant stakeholders and party members. So when they are having people to lead the party, they look at someone who can appeal. So the brand personality or the political brand personality is a human form characteristics that the party takes. So we can look at the colors, the umbrella, okay? Then we can look at the elephant, we can look at the butterfly, we can look at the mask. All these are symbols that represent human characteristics. So these are carefully selected and chosen to represent the party. Moreover, when they are selecting the flag bearer, it's not a joke. It's somebody who can appeal to everybody. Because if they pick somebody from Ashanti region, that person must be appealing to all other tribes in the country. Otherwise, it will not hold. Then the last point is the brand resonance, which maybe we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
The personality and the values are critical. If you mess up one bit, you are gone.
Before we continue, I just want to say a very big thank you to my sponsors. I just want to say a big thank you to Milk and Honey for my makeup. Her number is 07496318713. If you need her for any occasion, please don't hesitate, to contact her. She does makeup also for graduation. And at the moment, she's giving 50% discount for all students, who are going to graduate, very, 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 very soon. 50% discount, and you can't go wrong as well. And my shirt was also given to me by H&M. So I just want to say thank you to to my sponsors as well. So Doc, thank you so much for enlightening us on political values, and also branding values, and also political brand personality. Can we just move a little bit, because now we have the traditional political branding versus the digital political branding. Because now like in that era where things are also done online. Tonight we just want to know what are the core components of political branding in the digital age, and also what are some of the strategies that we can use to combat misinformation and negative campaigning?
Well, it is very serious but very important. Without these platforms, it's going to be very difficult. However, these political parties cannot win elections on social media. The danger is that most of the people who are engaged in all this communication, especially on social media, YouTube, Facebook, you see that most of them are in Europe or abroad, and most of them do not vote. But they do the bidding for most of the political parties. So that is good in terms of brand communication, in terms of creating the relationship, brand relationship, or political brand relationship is very important. However, the core value, what the political brand represents, must resonate with the people. You can have all the best communication tools or materials to your disposal, but if what you represent is confusing in the minds of the voters, you cannot still win. Let's look at Nigeria, Tinubu and Peter Obi, right? Everyone thought it was going to be a change, but before they realized, things were not how they thought it was supposed to be. Because if you have smart presence on Facebook, X, all the other social media platforms, it has to correspond with the communication on the ground, because those who are going to vote are the people the message should reach, not anybody on social media who cannot vote or who wouldn't vote. That is the danger. But technology is good. We can employ all political. If you don't have social media, and it's going to be tough, especially appealing to the youth, because most people are on social, Facebook, X, and the rest, and the communication, TikTok, all things are going on there. Sometimes it's like we're having fun, but it's making impact. One word from one person against a political party can go a long way, especially social media influencers. If you
Yeah.
look at the bloggers in Ghana, there are a lot of them. One person can have a bad or negative consequences on these parties, because social media travels fast. Communication through social media travels fast compared to the traditional, let's say, newspaper or radio, where you have to tune in, and sometimes the signal is so bad. But social media, it doesn't go away, it stays forever. But it's really good too. It's really, really, I've seen the major political parties are using it. That's quite phenomenal. We need it in our political brand, and otherwise, we will not be abreast with changing parties of technology or time.
Well, so even though social media is playing a good significant role in terms of branding, but then in terms of the actual work, it's more even though it's got I would say a significant impact, it doesn't necessarily influence the mindsets of people when it comes to voting. Is that what like you're trying to say?
Yeah, for example, advertising does not necessarily translate to sales.
Okay.
Advertising does not necessarily translate to sales. You can advertise. Look at Coca-Cola, late 90s to early 2000s. What happened to Coca-Cola? Pepsi overtook Coca-Cola, not because Coca-Cola was not advertising, not because Coca-Cola was not available from all retail shops. It was because of the changing patterns of the consumer. Consumers were aligned more with green product or sustainable product, and Pepsi Cola was offering that. So you realize that in the early 2000s, Coca-Cola acquired Innocent Drink to become part of the family. The reason is that Innocent Drink was getting uh, popularity because of its sustainable practices. Okay, so everyone thought that it was a good drink. So Coca-Cola wanted to be associated with something that is good, appealing to customers, because consumption was shifting from normal consumption to more sustainable consumption. So that was where it was. So advertising alone will not create sales unless the brand value is what the political party is representing. And what the political party represents is the promise that the party has given to the people. McDonald's will promise you that if you buy chicken burger, you are going to have chicken inside. You are not going to be given mutton or beef. So if you order chicken burger and it comes and it is beef or mutton, Nana, are you going to buy from McDonald's again?
Never.
No.
Yeah.
So that is the core. The brand value is the core, is the representation of the political party. It is the promise the political party has given to the people, because what they represent is what they tell people who they are. And people reflect on that to vote. And when people reflect on that to vote, we want repeat voters. We want people to come back and vote for us 4 years, 8 years. Now you are going to be judged based on the promise that you gave us, or the value that you said what you represent. Then, based on that, we're going to say we're going to vote for you again or not. So,
Okay.
having presence on internet or social media alone will not generate votes.
So if I am understanding you very, very, very well, you've explained to us what brand value and also brand I'll say personality is, and also what social the impact of social media on political branding and all that stuff. So currently, do you think Ghana, we are at a place that we fully understand all that you've actually explained to us tonight? The brand value, the brand personality. Do you think we are incorporating all these things into our campaign? To create a lasting effect or a lasting memory in the minds of our consumers.
The problem is that I see that most of the political parties, especially the dominant ones, okay, sometimes they don't go according to the brand value, what they represent, what they have talked to the people about, or what they have, the impression they have created in the minds of the voters, who they are. They don't go according to that. And that becomes a problem, because if you have a value, brand value and brand personality, it's supposed to create brand resonance. That is the highest point where voters and stakeholders will fall in love with a particular political brand. The problem is that we fall out of love because the value and the personality do not correspond to what the party represents, or promise to promise us that they are representing. So it becomes a problem. That means they are not able to create long-lasting relationship between the members or the voters and that of relevant stakeholders. And Nana, that is killing politics in Ghana, not only in Ghana, all over the world.
So, like at this point, so how can our political parties come up with a consistent and also coherent brand identity to maximize the impact, of their, party or their campaigns? I mean, how can they do it?
Yes, MPP represents something that appeal to people to vote for them. So their the core value of the 2020 promise and 2024 promise. If voters look at 2020, 2016, what promise they gave, 2020, what promise they gave, and now, can we say the values are the same? What they represented or what they show us that they represent or they stood for in 2020 and 2016, is it the same? The same thing applies to NDC. Is it the same? We can spare the new force and movement for change because they are new. Remember, these new guys or new movement, they are in a state of newness. Okay, so they are sporadically in the sporadically state because they are now going through trials and errors, what will work for us, how are we going to have offices around all the 275 constituencies, how many people do we bring on board. So they are not there yet, so we can pardon them because they've not promised anything. Someone might say that Alan Cash was with NPP, but he can still exonerate himself to say that I told them this, they didn't take it. That's why I resigned from the party completely. Now, when we take new force, my expectation of the new force was that it was going to bring radical change in politics. But unfortunately, that is not happening. Why, Nana? Everything starts from the brand values. Who do you represent or what do you represent? Who are you? What are you? What is made of you? what will distinguish you from the rest? The core value will translate to the personality, because Nana, you cannot give what you don't have. And
Definitely.
this is supposed to create a relationship between you, the voters, and relevant stakeholders. When I talk about stakeholders, we have financiers who are not necessarily going to vote for you, but they like your ideas, they can support you. It could be people outside Ghana who will still fund you. But are you appealing to them? You are not, because the core value has not been defined properly. And once the core value has not been defined, if you look at communication of MPP and NDC and compare it to the rest of the political parties, now you could see that the difference is like an elephant and a mouse. It's big. It's big. And because if you don't communicate your values properly, you cannot create a relationship between yourself and the voters. That is the major problem. But the values, voters are going to measure you according to the standard that you set for them. And that standard is what they're going to use to vote for you to come back to power or continue to be in power.
Okay. So then, would you say that manifestos, matter? I mean, since these people do not actually stick to what they promise to deliver, do you think? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, does manifestos really matter?
Well, this is how I see. Sometimes I see that we are in a laboratory, and we are being tested. So a party comes and changes everything. So it's like we are still in the lab, because if we come out of the laboratory, then we can have a brand promise for the whole country, and that promise will be fulfilled. Sometimes you see it's like we give the promise based on what we think voters want to hear, but we forget we are giving the promise and people are going to hold us accountable. Because that is why in the normal field, retailers, if you buy an item, Nana, if you buy something from the shop, that is why they have the Consumer Credit Act. Return policy is there. If you buy in 2 weeks, it doesn't meet your promise, the promise that they gave,
Yeah.
you have the possibility to return it. But in politics, you cannot return it once you vote. You have to wait for 4 years. So the return policy of voters is that they're not going to vote you. That is the return policy. So they are not bringing you back to power. Let me bring Chris to Sem Kakrawa because back to sender. We will say back to sender. So go back to where you come from. So that is the return policy voters give to them. So you see that sometimes they will be in high hopes that we're going to win, but customers don't look at that. The promise that you gave. Now, don't forget, this time Ghanaians are becoming so discerning to the point that the days of giving matches, giving promises that are false and
Yes.
not kept,
Yeah.
we are getting there. So political parties must keep to their promise. If don't promise what you cannot offer,
Mhm.
just because you want the vote, because you will come and they will kick you out. That is where you see the problem comes, because they move away from the brand values.
Yeah.
After the election, there's one political party that we will analyze,
Mm.
because the core values, they are not following the core values. And once the core values are not followed, you will lose and lose massively. That's the point.
Yeah, to anyone watching us, Dr. Kusi has written a beautiful article, and I'll just try and pin the link after this conversation, and please make time and read this beautiful article. And we have a lot of professors and also doctors here, and they write a lot of beautiful articles that sometimes the average Ghanaian is not able to purchase. So they are making it now accessible through the Inside View, where they can come on my show to break things down, for like all of us, to educate us on some of these important topics. So please, when we have such discussions, make time and tune in. Yeah, Doc. Thank you so much. Up to this point. You were talking about political resonance. What at all is that? What is political resonance? Yeah.
Resonance is at the point where a political party has fulfilled the values, the personality resonates with that of the human characteristics of the voters and relevant stakeholders. At that point, voters and these stakeholders have fallen in love with that political party.
Okay.
They have fallen in love in deeper ways to the point that they've become brand ambassadors for these political parties.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. These ambassadors don't need money per se from these political parties. You can see people standing on the street and they are fighting over MPP and NDC.
Oh.
But if you ask them, are you a registered member of MPP or NDC? No. And even if they are registered members of NDC or MPP or other political party, they don't even know them in the office. They don't have the mandate to speak on their behalf. This comedian in Ghana made a advert trying to explain 24-hour economy on behalf of NDC. It backfired, and the same NDC came and told the guy that we didn't authorize you to do that. Next time, if you want to do that, you need to seek our approval.
Mm-hmm.
That is brand resonance. This comedian has fallen in love with NDC to the point that he's not been paid to do advert or campaign for them, but he's gone ahead to do it. Prince David Osei, another actor, Ghanaian actor, is with Baumia when he was launching the 2024 manifesto. Why? Because he's falling in love with the brand. So sometimes when we fall in love with the brand, the political party doesn't need to tell us to do anything. Look at the year 2000 when Kufuor was coming to power. Look at the force, look at the masses, look at students, how they did the campaign for him from the length and breadth of Ghana. People thought it was impossible. Look at how MPP was able to destroy NDC. Why? Because they had fallen in love with MPP to the point that they were doing the campaign on their behalf. And moreover, it's not only those who the party don't know. Those within the party, once they have fallen in love, some sell their properties, some do so crazy things to help the party. Why? Because they fall in love. Now, if the love is gone, whereby the values are not sticked with, the personality is not resonating with what the voting populace want, you see divorce start to come in. The love is gone, then they switch allegiance from one political party to another political party. That is what happened to MPP in 2008. People fell out in love with them and they switched to NDC. And the same thing happened to NDC 2016. So, why I've told you, Nana, if the values, you don't stick to the values, forget it, you go down. Because these values will create the resonance, that is the highest point where voters and stakeholders fall in love with the political party. But what you told them you represent is not what you are when they have come to test, when they have come to try you, when they've come to follow you, when they have seen what you've done for 4 years and 8 years, and it is contrary to the promise that you gave them, they fall out in love. So the financiers will not come, voters will not come. Two ways: either they will not go and vote at all, or they will vote for the alternative. that brings the relationship. The brand resonance, the reason why it's critical is that it costs more to attract new voters or new members to a political party than to retain existing ones. Let me explain. Look at how much money you will spend to convince two people to join NDC or MPP than to focus attention on your core voters. So see what's going on in Ghana currently. MPP is in Ashanti region because they have identified for a long time that these are our true lovers. So they are going back to their first love. They want to ensure that they strengthen or they embolden the love to the point that Ashanti will still become brand ambassadors. Look at NDC. The first presidential candidate was in the voter region. Was it yesterday or 3 days ago? To solidify the love the Votarians have got for NDC. We cannot run away from this fact. As a political party, you should know your stronghold. You should know who your true love is. The true love, that is brand resonance, they gave judgment on you. They are not ordinary. They don't put you at par with any political party. They have differentiated you from other political parties, and they have fallen in love with you. And Nana, when you are in love, you see how it's difficult. Your auntie, everybody will say, you don't care, you are in love.
Yeah.
That is it. So the brand resonance is very crucial. But if you don't stick to the values and the personality, Nana, it doesn't matter. Haven't you seen millions of pounds spent in a wedding, and 2 weeks they are back in court divorcing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is what caused political parties their resonance, because they don't stick to the values and the personality, and it costs them dearly.
Very, very interesting. So, with the new, political parties, actually coming on board, what can they do, for their brand to spark action?
First of all, this new movement, the new force movement for change, Alan Cash and Nana Kwame Bediakon, they suffer from liability of newness. Okay. Once in branding, if you suffer from liability of newness, you are in trouble. Because first of all, you are new to the voting public. They don't know who you are. So you lack trust in their eyes. You lack legitimacy in their eyes. So it's difficult for them to trust you. For them to give you their trust, first of all, we go back to brand values. Who are you? What are you going to give us? That will be different from the rest. These are the kind of messages I want to hear from this new movement. You cannot give more of the same and get and distinguish yourself. If it is more of the same, then NDC and MPP are doing that already. We don't need that. We need something that is radical, that will disrupt the political scene. But currently, I don't see that from the new force and movement for change. Based on my
so if you're to be, let's say a consultant, or let's say, an advisor to them, what kind of advice would you, give to them, to make sure that their brand, can help them, win, or not, and just give a stiff, competition to the
yes. Let's make quick analysis. Let's look at movement for change. The symbol is a butterfly. People are already criticizing that a butterfly doesn't stay at one place.
Sorry, that's so funny.
Yes, butterfly doesn't stay. So in the minds of the customer, if if a butterfly doesn't stay at one place, it means that you are not stable. So they cannot trust you. So the symbol, that is why I said the value, that is the brand mantra, that we can have the logo, the symbols. We don't just take any symbol. You have to know the meaning. So you see that it is right on arrival, you are being criticized that an elephant doesn't stay at one place. Moreover, there is a divorce that has gone on between the Movement for Change and MPP. So if you bring a butterfly and they are saying that you don't stay at one place, then it means that even the new movement that you have created, you might not stay there. Nana, you see where the problem is coming from.
Yeah.
So when we have to analyze the value or the representation of the movement, this is the meaning people are giving. And once people are giving this meaning to this new movement, then it is going to be a problem. That means you suffer from trust. Moreover, you suffer from the liability of newness because you are new. That means there could be rebranding. Rebranding, we did I did a case study where the product is called Ambronite. Initially it was called Ambro. It was confusing because it was a Greek name that represents goddess. And when they found out that it represents goddess, then I asked the chief executive, why did you change the name? He said, Christians were not buying our product because they said it is associated with this and we're losing. So they changed the name to Ambronite to avoid all these kind of explaining yourself and the rest. A cause for that. Then the new force. If you are representing, you're talking about Kwame Nkrumah, you want to be in the shoes of Kwame Nkrumah, all these founders of Africa, these were top guys, sharp brains, whatever they promised to do, they set forth to do. When they speak, you could see that the whole continent was shaking. If you want to stand in their shoes, Nana, that should be the character. But let's look at the brand personality. Is it exhibiting those characteristics currently? Maybe later he will build the momentum or the confidence to do that, but as at now, it's not forthcoming. So the mask per se, if we associate it with the mask, you see, you asked about the colors. Can you show me the colors that represent the new force? Because in the mask, there are a lot of colors. But when you look at MPP and NDC, you can talk about the colors. Finito, we are gone. When you look at the Movement for Change, you can talk about the colors. Yellow, black, you are gone. So voters or consumers don't want anything that is too confusing. I understand how he wanted to introduce the new brand as something new, something catchy. So it was keeping people in the dark. And finally, he unveiled himself. Although the turn of event leading to the unveiling was not pleasant. So all these things can go against the brand. Like, who are you? Where are you from? We are talking about Ghana. We have somebody who is not from Ghana becoming the mouthpiece. Nana, remember, we have still the colonial days ideas back. So if you are presenting something that is new, you want to get it right so that people will not associate you with any foreign influence in the politics of Ghana. Okay. I understand that he said a lot of people were not forthcoming, but if a lot of people are not forthcoming, others could have. That might not be. So this will be my advice. First of all, for Movement for Change, I will look at the logo to start with, so that voters will not say that the butterfly does not stay at one place, so we cannot even trust him. Then secondly, when it comes to the new force, the position and the personality characteristics he wants to emulate, it has to come out boldly, and there should be a flagship policy that NDC is not offering. MPP is not. If you say I'm going to give jobs to the youth, it's not enough because MPP and NDC are promising the same thing.
very, very interesting. I'm being blown away by the way you've been able to educate us tonight on branding, branding values, branding or brand personality, and also brand resonance. My interest, honestly, is with the up and coming political parties, because everybody knows NPP, NDC, and also I think CPP. I don't think CPP is longer in
That's
existence,
fine.
but yes, but we still have NPP and also NDC, and I think these are the two major political parties. If you are to be given the role or the job title to be the brand specialist, or being the a professor, like in your field, you've been given the opportunity to be a consultant to all these political party, what message would you give to all these political parties? What core message, or like core components, or like what would you tell them? You've educated us on the like on the values, on the personality, and also on the resonance. Aside that, what would we just want to know your clear message for all these political parties when it comes to branding. Here before we go.
Great. It starts from the values,
Okay.
what they represent, how do they want the voters to see them, and why would they want them to see them that way.
Okay.
The core value, you cannot mess up with voters when it comes to the core value. Don't give too many promises in the manifesto, because in accounting, is it called overtrading? You cannot give everything. So why do you fill the manifesto with so many promises, and in the end they come to bite you? That means you are not following your own values. It starts from there. They put too many things in the manifesto, which to me, some of them are not relevant at all. And they know for sure they can't fulfill. But because they know people want to hear, they do that. If you do that, you are going contrary to your values. And once what you represent is not how voters see you anymore, you start to lose trust. Once trust is lost, then the legitimacy goes, confidence goes, then the divorce sets in. The relationship or the resonance start to fall apart. Like Chinua Achebe will say, things will fall apart and no longer at ease. So don't promise more. Make the manifesto simple. Then, when you keep the manifesto simple and you go beyond the expectation of the customer, this is the voter and the stakeholder, Nana, that move the relationship to the resonance point, whereby the love will be strengthened. It's like you are renewing your vows. Your husband has exceeded your expectation, your wife has exceeded your expectation, and you are buying your car. You take your wife to the showroom. You say, I love you so much. This is the car I want to buy for you at your 40th birthday. I don't think your husband will do anything for you if if the love is, or the marriage is not good. Nana, would your husband do that? No.
No.
So for customers, for voters to take these parties to the showroom and buy them cars after 10 years relationship with them, they need to keep to the value. That is the promise they give. In our subsequent discussion, we'll talk about brand value, promise per se. But the next one, we're going to look at brand crisis as it has happened to unfortunate demise of Honorable Madam Ekweadonko. These are some of the crises that you can still find them in some of the parties now. They are in the crisis because the values, they've missed the point. So they're in crisis.
So, I mean, how can Ghanaians also hold them, into account in terms of the power of brand messaging in political campaigns? How can we hold, all these political, parties into account that, what, you said this, and now you are not actually delivering, I mean, what you've promised. I mean, if we are going by the value, the personality, and also the resilience, how, how can Ghanaians, come to that, the realization of the importance or the power of brand messaging, like in political campaigns?
Well, you see, the point is, how many political parties have got websites and the chat room is available to receive feedback?
Okay.
That's a big problem.
Mm.
And yɛn bu baby said the ultra sanonim senechiachia.
Mhm.
So if we are not receptive to feedback, how do we come back to the values? How do we go back to our first love? It cannot be. So it starts from feedback. After 4 years or after every 2 years, then we need to go back to the ground and listen to what the people are saying. There's one song by Buju Banton. He says, the minister says the economy is better, but the masses are suffering. How can the Minister of Finance says the economy is better, but the people on the ground are saying it is the contrary? That means the value is not there. And to correct that, we don't need 4 years before you can go back to correct things. Why don't you start from year one? You gave them sweet words and promises. They fell in love with you. They gave you their vote. So why don't you go back to them? Sweetheart, what is happening? 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, are we getting things right? 2 years, are we getting things right? What can we change? But if we become adamant, it's like a waterfall. The water is dropping and it just falls and water will find its own way. And you don't listen, you don't get feedback to improve. The love will break. And once it breaks, things fall apart and they will be no longer at ease.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Samuel Kusi. I mean, so soon we've come to the end of our discussion. So, I mean, in your final words, anything that you want to tell Ghanaians, anything they want to tell to our audience who have actually stayed with us, until now? Is there any? I mean, your final words before we go. And I think I've seen Patrick and also Sammy also behind the scenes. Is there anything that you want to tell us before we go, or you just came to support Prof? Could you please? Yes.
I came to support and then to take ideas from what Dr. is saying.
Oh, okay. Sam, did you?
I didn't know you were going to get me on.
No,
but it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. But if
It's
you
okay.
have also something to say.
So not properly
fine.
there. Oh, yeah. I just tuned in to watch or listen to my friend, and I think this is an amazing program. I heard him say that you're going to be looking at a part 2 or something.
Yeah.
And yes, I want to tune in and actually listen to him, help us out, because I'm a politician too, so I'm kind of like listening. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you've taken a lot on board. That will also help the political party that you belong to. And yeah.
Okay.
And
thank you.
Kwaku, do you want to tell us something before you go? Kwaku, I've seen you. Is there anything you want to tell us before you go? Or you just came to support Prof? You're muted, Kwaku. I guess maybe, they all came to support.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I think the internet is not working for Kwekwejekum.
Oh, okay. What about Patrick? Patrick, did you come to support Prof?
Yeah, I came to support and listen
okay.
to. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you so much for your support. And Sam, thank you so much also for your support. Maybe in future we might have to maybe bring all of you on board, just to see if maybe you can add maybe one or two. But in the meantime, I say thank you. To all, like to my fans and also to doctors fans, and who have stayed, with us up until now. We say thank you for your company. We do appreciate your support so much, and please urge you to share this broadcast to go far. We want our politicians to do well, take into account what political branding and also what political brand values are, political brand personality, and also political brand resonance also is. So tonight we talked about political branding with using Ghana as the test case, simply because of the upcoming elections for next month. So we are just trying to make all our political parties be aware of the importance of brand and also branding, because tonight I've educated about what brand is and what branding is. So we just want our political leaders to take into account the brand value, brand personality, and also brand resonance. Thank you so much, Prof, for your time, and I just wish everyone happy weekend. Make sure you take some rest and enjoy yourself and enjoy the weather as well. If you're in Ghana, enjoy the weather. Those of us here, it's so cold, and I say thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye, Doc. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for hosting me, and thank for everyone. Bye.
Before you go, if you have any messages, sorry, like any message for your loved ones, your family, anybody that you want to actually, address here before you go. Sorry, I should have actually, asked you here before.
Yeah, sure. I know that for sure, as long as God lives, this election is going to be peaceful. I don't see Ghana. We are beyond what people are thinking that we're going to fight. NDC and PP are going to fight. Although NDC don't want to sign the peace agreement, but I don't see it to be a problem. Ghana is still Ghana. In fact, we always set the pace for the rest to follow. And I wish everyone the best, and we will have a peaceful election, and we will still enjoy Ghana. God bless our homeland country.
Thank you so much. Please stay tuned for the part 2 of this important discussion before 7th of December. Like we're going to have part 2 of the same topic, but a different discussion under branding, as well. So thank you, and keep sharing, keep following the Inside View, and let's build a solid team. Thank you.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.